When I talk about poverty and all of these things, this can change the world. And it starts with people solving problems. That's all tech is. You got a problem, you solve it. Hello, who's been solving problems since we got here? I don't know. We got to clear all of that land? Let's come up with some tools. I got it. Ha ha. Cotton gin. Wasn't Eli Whitney. He was not picking cotton. The only person could have had a cotton gin was somebody that had to figure out how to do it easier. Just couldn't hold a patent because he wasn't considered a human being. Those are facts. Anyway, just have to get that out too.
Okay.
One other little story. William Daniels, do you know him? Do you watch Boy Meets World? Did you ever watch that? The voice of Kit from Knight Rider?
I remember that.
William Daniels, Mr. Feeney. Well, apparently somebody tried to break into his home, the home that he shares with his wife, Bonnie, and they forced open the back door. But Daniels quickly turned on the lights, and he scared off the intruder. He said, he was able to frighten the man off. He is 91 years old.
Wow.
Okay? I love that. I love it.
Wow.
Anyway,
good for him.
Shout out to him. When he was trending, people were like, oh, no, I hope nothing's wrong. 91. His wife is 89. He was like, get out. All right, let me welcome to the show. We're doing tech right now. So if you have any tech questions, give us a call, 866-801-8255. This young lady in 2019 through techactivist.org is going to be launching a Tech Warrior Fellowship. It's designed to afford financial support and a community of peers to young activists who have expressed interest and success in learning technical skills. So if you're out there fighting the good fight that we're talking about and you want to add some tech to it so you can get your message out bigger and bolder and spread more, this is where we need to go. She's going to be giving out $1,000 every month. It's nice. Tech fellow. We welcome to the show.
Nice.
Idalin Bobe.
What's good? What's good?
Hey, Bobe.
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 Hey,
What-
Bobe.
Bobe. What's up, Bobe? All right, what's Bobe? What's this from? This has got a little thing over it, so that looks French.
So it looks French. It's a little from like Spaniard, but you know how Puerto Rico, colonization, all that good stuff, how it works. Who knows what my genetic form is all made up.
Black. Anyway.
Exactly.
Shh, don't tell nobody. You might be able to get some resources for us if they don't know. All right. I'm okay with people passing during these times as long as you pass with a purpose. Listen, so tell me, first of all, Idalin, how'd you get involved in tech? Or was it the activism that came first?
The activism, I would say it came first, but I didn't call it activism. I just call it being a person that lived and grew up in the hood. And, you know, everybody in the hood, we're trying to take care of each other. We're trying to look out. Went to a high school that had 75% dropout rate. We had more police in the school than textbooks. 90% of the students had asthma, even if you didn't even have asthma before the school. So naturally, if you are a person who just cares, you're just like, something is wrong here. It wasn't until 2014 I started calling myself an activist and a community organizer. But all my life, I just say I'm a poor person that cares about my people. And
so how did it show up in your school when people were coming in and contract? Do you contract asthma, or do you like when they were?
You can develop asthma.
So you can develop asthma.
What did you do? What was the first thing that you did?
I would say what we did was create press conferences. We did our own little testings of like the air filters of the water. We had lead in our water, didn't even know. And we kind of embarrassed the public education system in Philadelphia by saying, hey, we have all these Black and Latinos in the school, and y'all really don't care about us. Puta Kanye. Not that Kanye's cool right now, but back then he was cool. It was like, y'all don't really care about Black people because of this. So they gave us a whole bunch of water bottles, put new water systems in, and kept working on the school.
So you agitated into action.
Exactly.
That works, huh?
Sometimes, okay, it can
work.
Right.
So then you became a coder? Like what was the tech part?
So man, that tech part, I would say going to this school, graduating, I did not know how to read, write, but I had a lot of passion. I could get things done. And there was a pastor in my community who was like, you a terrible student, but you're a dope person. And if someone just guided you in the right direction, you could go places. You have so much energy. So he helped me get into college. that was cool and all, but if you don't know that fundamental education, you're basically going to fail. So that's what freshman year looked like to me. I told my mom, hey, this is not for me. College is not for all hood people. It's not for all people. So I might be dropping out. She was like, well, what do they have you don't? Turned out people had laptops, computers in their rooms. I didn't. I could barely afford books. My mom fundraised a laptop. Right now, you would call it crowdfund, but back then, you just knock on people's doors with a little
My baby's
jar.
in college. Can
Exactly.
you help?
And you tell your people, like, yo, can you help? And they gave me my first laptop. And that's kind of was the inspiration and the love and passion from tech. Because not only was I able to close, like, my digital divide, educational gap, because of it, I was able to just be open up to a whole bunch of people online and to say, like, I don't know this and I don't know that. I would do that in person, but a lot of people was like mad racist after school. I would just be like, you know what? You should drop out.
What school?
It was Indiana University of Pennsylvania.
Okay. Why Indiana
20 minutes. It's a KKK.
We visited that school. Yeah.
Chapter.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it was a really interesting place. A lot of people didn't see, Black Latinos. So they're just like, you don't belong here anyway. So it was definitely something I did want to say, like, I do belong here. I ended up graduating with a 3.67 in applied statistics.
What?
So I'm just
And applied statistics.
Applied statistics.
Wow.
So I'm saying, to me, that's kind of where my optimism with tech came. So definitely thought, yo, if I could go from the hood to corporate America, I'm making more money than my mom, dad combined. If we just bring laptops and bring them to everyone in the hood, like, I'm just one
Changing the
person.
world.
We're
Yeah.
changing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I didn't know I was good at math. I didn't know what I was good at because no one gave me that opportunity. So that's where that came.
Because they didn't see you.
Exactly.
So shout out to that pastor. What was his name?
Yes, Pastor Melvin Jenkins.
Hey, Pastor Jenkins.
Yes.
Giving honor to God. That's a church you need to go to. That he
Yes.
can look at a child and tell that child that child is dope.
Yes. And
A
trust,
dope person.
I wasn't easy. He would try to work with me for like 2 years. I'm like, bruh, give it up. Why are you trying to, like, hold on to me?
Because he saw you.
Right.
It's funny that you raised all of these issues about lead in schools. What area of Philadelphia? Because they're still having these problems.
They're still having these problems.
What area of Philadelphia were you
North
raised in?
Philly.
North Philly. No,
So
North
the
Philly,
school
wow.
is in front in Luzerne. Badlands is where the school is located. Called Badlands because of the epidemic crises of, drugs, closings of schools.
Yeah.
You go there, you have more wood and cardboard on your windows than you have glass. So that's the type of neighborhood I grew up. And it still looks like that. Gentrification hasn't hit it completely, but trust is going there because that's where cheap housing is.
So the goal was to get tech in front of these kids that
Yes.
didn't have hope. So how far did we get?
So listen, I was doing like some charity work trying to raise money. It wasn't really getting me too much exactly what I wanted. So I figured, let me kind of hack into Silicon Valley. And I drove from Philly to San Francisco.
Wow.
What?
Yes. Lived in my car
When
for a
was
couple
this?
of months. That was in 2009 during the crises, economic crises.
The crash. I
Yo,
remember that. Like it was
my mom was
yesterday.
like, you gonna leave your job for no job? What's wrong with you? But I saw her had a vision. And, I was like, I've always been poor.
I know what that
I'm
feels like. I could do
exactly-
that again.
Exactly. I could do that again. I know how to survive. But I didn't want other people, if I had a chance and opportunity to change and inspire, I was like, I'm going to take that. So I went.
Wow. So you had a nice job making more money than both of your parents.
Yes.
And you left,
And
got
I
in your
left.
car, and drove west.
Mm-hmm.
3,000 miles.
Yep. Got lost in the cornfields because,
Child.
Google Maps wasn't popping back then.
Right,
So
2009. It's
Yeah,
like
wow.
you got a map.
Just think about it. Just
There
9
was
years ago, the
right,
technology
there
was
was
completely
no,
different.
There was no Siri or no
Exactly.
no
Crazy.
what do you call that, navigation. I call her Navi because she's nasty.
when you lost, you lost.
Right. Wow. Craziest thing happened to you on your drive across country? Because most of us have never done that.
Oh, man. I say the craziest thing, I was driving for like 10 hours and it said I still had like 700 more miles to go. I was like, oh my goodness, what is this? But I did get lost in the cornfields. I took a left and another left and a right. But it was what was cool about it. I was in South Dakota at that time. I wanted to see Mount Rushmore because I thought that would be dope. But I ran into Crazy Horse Monument, which I don't think a lot of people know about Crazy Horse and the indigenous struggles out there and how they're putting their money together so you can see one of their leaders on the mountains and not these white colonizers that killed all their people. So I was just like, whoa, that was really cool.
We're talking with Idalin Bobe, and she is at techactivist.org. You can check that out. You're doing some work with the Poor People's Campaign as well. But let me finish up this driving west thing because I'm not done. Get in your car, you drive west, you see Crazy Horse, you end up in San Francisco. You're sleeping in your car for 2 weeks. What was the plan?
The plan was to convince. I feel like when people meet me, they like me. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, people just got to meet me. I don't rate the greatest, so even if I wrote you a dope resume, you'd be like, this person has a lot of grammar issues. And I do, but I know my shortfallings, and I know technology can help all of that. But just get me in front of someone. So that was my goal. Get me in front of someone, I could get a job. And I did hack into the tech system and tech.
What, physically hack?
Not physically as in like, I wasn't supposed to be there.
Yeah, you weren't supposed to be there.
Okay.
Right.
I wasn't supposed to be there. Physically as in even this company didn't even want to hire me. But the person, the hiring manager loved me so much. They were just like, yo, come to work. I'm going to have you work for a week. And be like, oh, my bad. We have to add her to the payroll now. So I literally did that. Was like,
what?
I'm just going to be here.
You showed up to work
every day. Not even sure if I was going to get paid. I legit didn't even get paid for a straight month.
And they hired you?
And they hired me.
As what?
As an IT consultant.
Wow. Okay.
IT consultant. There you go.
2009. All right. And then how did you parlay that into a tech business?
So it was interesting because what I was doing was I also went to go do my MBA, started studying and picking up some computer programming classes, ran into a beautiful human being called Kimberly Bryant, who's the founder of Black Girls Code.
Yes.
At the time, single mom, launched her organization. And I was like, hey, I'm trying to launch a similar organization. Why don't we just join forces? She was like, I ain't got no money for you, but if you're down, we could create this magic. And I was like, all right, I know how to create magic. So if you're ready, I'm ready. So from 15 students, we grew the organization to 2,000 students, helped fundraise so much money to the organization for us at that time, because a lot of organizations that we thought would do the right thing and donate to the organization said if we change one word from the title,
Black Girls
but they're
Code,
not going to say what, then we could get money.
What was the problem? Was black or
Exactly.
girls?
Black.
You sure it wasn't girls?
It was black. And I was like,
which companies?
Come on, a lot. I would say all of them. I would be honest and say
so what do you think? So here's the
company.
thing, right? We're in a country where they tell us, the president, everyone, that black people, you're poor, you're downtrodden.
Yeah.
You're telling us we're at the bottom, but when we try to raise up, you're mad and you want to make it all people. All people. All Black Lives Matter. Well, that's because we're disproportionately getting shot, but you want it to be all lives matter, and you don't understand why it has to be Black Lives Matter, because we need to matter. But it's weird to me. So they want you to remove the black when black people make up 2% of tech.
Yep.
So you got to put the black in if you want to get black people coding. So, and black girls in particular, disproportionately disenfranchised from tech, where people are becoming billionaires every day. Every day, billionaires are being made in this space, and black girls and black boys are being left out. And they wanted you to take the black out.
Yep, take the black out. So luckily, we were just
didn't.
like, we're going to go to our people because we know this is a need. And we crowdfunded $100,000 with our own people, $5, $10. And we showed, hey, we don't need you all. We're here. We're going to have these programs. We're going to keep teaching, and we're going to make it happen.
866-801-8255. Idalin Bobe, founder of techactivist.org. Wouldn't it be interesting? We spend $1 trillion if we just all committed $1 to programs like this. And there are like a dozen of them, right?
Yes.
There are a dozen of them. There aren't that many, unfortunately. Kimberly Bryant has been on a couple of times. Jameson, who else? We've had it's Black Girls Code. There's Code Crew.
Khan Academy. We've had
Khan Academy. No, the young lady that does the Black Tech Week.
Felicia Hatcher.
Felicia Hatcher.
Yes.
Yeah. Catherine
Amazing.
Finney, who has a,
Right.
there's like, I can name them. If we all just put $1 every week to the side, and at the end of the year, donated that to, maybe not $1. Maybe we could do better than that. $100 a week. Right? That's $5,200. Donated to each one. Boom, boom, boom. Right? Give $1,000 to each organization. If all of us did that, how many kids would be coding?
Amazing.
How many kids would be in tech? The divide would be overnight.
Right.
We spend more than that. Don't we spend more than $1,000 a month on dumb stuff?
Mm-hmm.
I think we do on Steve Madden's.
Just on Lyft
All right.
alone.
STEM got to be the major focus of where we throw our dollars at.
Yeah,
And I also think libraries play a bigger part in how
they
we do
can.
STEM. Yes.
If we turn every library in the hood into a tech center,
Incubator. Yes.
into a Y,
Yeah, every-
XY
Free workspace.
what is it,
Every
Combinator?
church,
yes.
every library.
Yeah, let's
But
repurpose
churches
these spaces.
are all over poor people communities.
And while libraries are important because they already get set aside in government monies
Yes.
and subsidies to do those things for free.
and they're struggling
yeah, most
because we're not
definitely.
going now. Make them a centerpiece.
Mhm.
All right, I just wrote that down. Put that into action. Who's got to put that? Oh, you're going to do that. That's right.
Cool,
Italy.
we got a
yeah.
plan.
Yeah, we got a plan. Put that. You already have a plan. All right, so go to techactivist.org. What's going to happen there? Tell us about this challenge.
So techactivist.org is an interesting concept. It formed when I went to volunteer in 2014. Ferguson uprising happened. They needed people to work on a website. So I go there, going to volunteer for 3 weeks. Realize not only did I get there September 1st, but on September 1st, 200 FBI agents get there. And it was interesting because every day we would go to protest, and one day we would be going to protest the Ferguson PD. One day there's no PD there. So we're like, oh, they're scared of us. They're not trying to come out. But we see there's a sign on the wall on the doors that says mandatory social media training for all police officers. So we're thinking, oh, they're probably going to learn how to tweet since, people have been tweeting, hashtagging, and they got all the support. They're
Ferguson.
probably looking for support. This is Ferguson. What we didn't know is that the FBI was training and teaching local police how to basically pull data from social media, from what we were doing, get information from frontline activists. And basically, that's kind of what really enlightened that this was not a civil rights movement. This is the 21st century. We cannot use civil rights tactics for the 21st century. We need 21st century tools. So if we have activists on the front lines, we need to know these tech tools. We are working with digital prisons, digital surveillance, all this insane stuff, and we keep creating a fear culture in our people. People are walking around scared of tech, saying, oh, well, they are going to know this, and they being the police, state, governments, all of that is going to know all this information. But what are we doing to create a culture of freedom around tech? So that was the spirit and body of techactivist.org.
As you were saying that, I was thinking, what if the Black Panthers
Man.
had tech?
All right.
Huh?
So if you go to techactivist.org, you will see our logo does have the Black Panther symbol. And Sister Elaine Brown, former chairperson and former minister of information, did bless us to use the Black Panther because many people don't
I didn't know that.
1972, the Black Panthers they attached community control of modern technology to their 10th point program because they saw a need that if a people do not know, Huey said if a man doesn't have a weapon, he will always be a slave or be in a condition to be enslaved.
Wow.
A weapon. You could weaponize anything. A weapon is just not a gun. A weapon could be a laptop. It could be a book. It could be anything. If you don't have the tools to get free, you will always be in condition to be a slave. And what are our people? We're always suffering with unemployment, with so much, like corporations are basically saying, what is innovation? Mm-hmm. When they don't care truly about innovation for freedom, innovation for our people, But we have all these organizations coming into the hood, creating these pipeline, getting people like me to go to corporate America when corporate America doesn't care about me.
No, they're using you for your resources.
Let me say something about that, because so I work in corporate America, and I work in the insurance and risk management space. And the insurance and risk management space is right now going through a tremendous amount of innovation and technological disruption. And so where we find ourselves on the brokerage side is that we're just not able to compete and keep up to date with the company side, who are your Geicos, your 1-800 this, your 1-800 that, because the buying block, the millennial buying block, if you don't have an answer for them within 10 minutes, they move on.
Mm-hmm.
They move on. And so, but the corporations in corporate America, by and large, has not found a way to truly impress the millennial group. They don't respect the buying power yet, even though it's the biggest voting block if they vote, and it's the biggest buying block when they buy. So what you're saying is incredibly important. They don't have a respect for you. I've said it.
Why should they? Why should they have a respect
Why
when we
should they?
don't respect it? All right. So if you're not respecting yourself, meaning I know I'm a customer services nightmare because I know what my value is. I'm spending money. I just was on the phone today with a company. I said, I've been a customer for 10 years. What you're not going to do, first of all, let me talk to the supervisor. What is your name? And 3 people got on the phone and helped me. And they were like, Miss, and by the time I was finished, I got an upgrade and a discount at the same time, because I know what my value is. And if each of us, we spend $1 trillion. Not only do we spend $1 trillion, we're the innovative force in this country. We remix everything from the language to the food. You just talked about, you just gave people a recipe for chicken.
Right.
All
but
right.
we're also the new business block.
We are. We're the
new
biggest
business
consumers.
block.
We're the biggest
But
consumers.
corporations still, they
because
still do
they
not
have
respect
never
it.
had to. It's
Yeah.
like the voting thing. And I'm going to go hard in the paint for voting. We got to show up to vote. But we have not voted with power since the 60s. And even that wasn't a true strategy outside of, I don't want to get in. I'm not going to disrespect anybody. But to vote with power means anybody can get it.
Right. Yeah.
Republican, Democrat, Independent. I don't care what's next. What are you doing for us? You don't do it. Time's up. Boom. On to the next. Who's running? Yep. You're not doing it. Next person. Right. And everybody should be fearful. Oh my God. What are the black people going to do? Right. Because they don't know.
Yeah.
Because each election we switch up. But we don't, and this goes for relationships. Let me tell you how we are in relationships. No, I'm serious. Mm-hmm. We are so predictable. Mm-hmm. We are so complacent. Mm-hmm. We take bad behavior and bad treatment all the way to the grave, some of us, in our relationships, personal and business.
Familial, yeah.
Come on. Zero tolerance. You talk to me funny, I'm out. Mm-hmm. What? Mm-hmm. What? Did you look at me? So
right.
I just had a conversation with somebody last night. I was like, people know who they can get away with stuff with.
Yes, they do.
So
but
we
what
got to do
she's
better.
saying is so
It's
important.
powerful.
Because when I'm sitting in these meetings, I say this.
Don't say it. You telegraphing. Keep your mouth closed. Take notes. No, I'm telling you something right now. Real talk. They don't need to know what's in your mind. They need to see the results after the fact, and then they'll be afraid. You think I could be here right now if I telegraphed everything that I was planning on doing? You better let me. I can say it now because I'm here, and they can do whatever they want because I've got the next 5 years planned. But I'm going to tell you, when I came in the door, Ron could tell you what my plan was day one, and they ain't see it, and I ain't tell them. 866-801-8255. My plan was always, there's a group of people out there. You got 30 million subscribers. How many of them look like us? Are we feeding them? My plan day one was to make sure I could feed as many people as possible with knowledge and power, and I'm going to do that every day, and I'm going to go hard in the paint. It was going to be consistent, and I didn't have any followers, and people call up, I can't stand you, and they want to talk, put on Al Sharpton, I don't want to hear you, and I was like, okay. I was getting it coming and going. People were having nasty things to say in here, out here, and I was like, nice, smiling, everyone, even people in here. Oh, my God, Jameson could tell you, I was getting hemmed up. I ain't say a word. I was like, that's all right. I got
and 4 years later, where we at?
I got a plan.
Exactly.
That's fine. I don't have to tell you what I'm doing until I get there. So here we are.
Exactly.
Young lady, you got a plan.
Yes.
Don't you say too much more. We're going to talk off mic. That's right. 866-801-8255. But y'all need to support this young lady. All right? Look, I sound like an old person now. This young lady is doing some stuff. Techactivist.org. Don't you say another word, but I'm going to ask you a question.
All right.
So you work with Reverend Barber? with the Poor
So I
People's
do
Campaign?
some work with the Poor People's Campaign. I'm part of the educational team. Because you have to do more than protest. You have to do more than riot. You have to do more than vote. To me, I'm not going to convince people to vote. Do I vote? Yes, sometimes, not all the times. I'll be honest. Why? The hood has always been the hood, regardless if it's a Republican, regardless if it's a Democrat. The only way that I've seen the hood change, gentrification. So for me to go out in masses and tell people to go vote, when seeing 1960s, even Dr. Martin Luther King was like, yeah, we have votes, we have rights, but do we have rights to a house? Do we have rights to fair wages? Do we have rights to like human life?
So this is a building block.
So it's building block.
Right. It's not the end all. It's not the only thing, but it has to be part of the mix, because if you don't have people advocating and divvying up these monies that we hold accountable, then we have no power. We saw that in Ferguson, where nobody voted.
Right.
But I would say to you, too, that the people who gentrify neighborhoods vote.
Right. So to me, I say voting is a tactic. It's not the strategy.
Yeah.
Like the strategy is ending poverty.
Right.
And you could use voting, but it's not going to be the only thing that you're using.
No.
So to me, I just, I'm not going to put all my effort into saying everyone go vote. Yes, you should vote. I vote. But I'm going to use other tactics to get to the people. You have Reverend Dr. Barber and a lot of people, doing other tactics. And I think that's all.
Lumumba in
Is that Tennessee?
Not Tennessee.
Tallahassee.
No. It's Jackson, Mississippi.
Yep.
Jackson, Mississippi. That's all right. No, and I'm sure. No, but there are people doing things all over the country. Yes. And this is we got to start connecting the dots too, because it feels like something's happening over here, and something's happening over there. And I'm grateful to be a conduit if we can put all of the pieces together, because there is a plan. You got a plan. There's a plan here. There's a plan there, and there needs to be a thread that runs through it, and nobody sees it but us.
I mean, and a part of that is just not that I'm thinking of a plan and I'm just going to throw it. I always say I hold myself accountable every day. I try to pick up a book. I try to talk to an elder. I try to hold myself accountable, see where I'm messing up. Because if I don't understand the problem, how dare I be all like, oh, I got the answers. Sway, I don't have the answers. Like, I don't have the answers. I'm trying to figure things out. I think definitely our people need to continue political education, do what Dr. King, Malcolm X, what Assata Shakur, everyone was learning about the economic conditions, because that was really important.
And these were 20-year-olds, right?
Yes.
I mean, so the raw chicken that I talked about before you came in here wasn't fully cooked or seasoned.
Right.
Got cut down before the full seasoning. So, yeah, we even need multi-layers. We need the youth with the energy, and we need the next generation up above that with the knowledge. We need the seasoning from the elders and all of that. It's like there's such a disconnect.
Yes.
We got to pull it all together. So I'm glad you're working with Reverend Barber as well.
Learning lots. I mean, he checks me a couple of times when I say, hey, I'm not promoting voting. He's like, do you know about voter suppression and all that? Like, the enemy wants you to believe you have no power in your vote. So he schools me, and I need to be schooled. And I can school him as well and be like, well, this is what's happening. But you need to have that debate. And I think people are scared to have that debate.
I agree. All right, what do you need?
So listen. Techactivist.org. We definitely aren't looking for corporate dollars. Just because sometimes that kind of changes the way you do things, the landscape. Corporations will definitely say like, hey, we're going to support you. And then they're just like, hey, but we don't want that. We don't want that. We've been funded completely by the people. It's for the people. If you feel free to donate. What we're looking for today are laptops. We just opened up the People's Forum in New York, Manhattan, Midtown. It's 320 West 37th Street. We have an entire building that we're trying to create into like a hacker space. We're trying to bring in 3D printers, work with housing activists, homeless activists, where if you put a 3D printer and teach them how to use that, what type of magic can we create out
build
of that?
Homes.
Exactly.
There are 3D printers that can make homes.
Yes. There's a case study in China. In 24 hours, this organization created 14 or 13 full functional homes. Why don't we look at that case study, see what they did, have our people, like we're here, we're hungry to learn. I feel so much fear culture is always like, hey, this is the impossible, but we're living in a world of abundance. Everything is possible because of tech. And we need to bring that culture of hope and resistance back and allow people to really create. So we're looking for laptops. We're looking for tech equipment. Again, techactivist.org. Next year, we're going to be having our fellowship where we want to pay young people who are already doing movement work to learn tech skills. What we see in the movement is that you do have movement techies working on creating actual tools, decentralized tools, where all of our data is not going to a corporation to make profit. But people are burnt out. I would say there's probably less than 150 tech activists, movement techies in the U.S.
Because you get dumped on. Everybody wants,
You're not going to get paid, so you do need that corporate job. You need to live in a contradiction of I'm going to take this corporate money, but I'm going to apply these skill sets elsewhere. But people are really getting burnt out. So what techactivist.org is doing, we're building a pipeline of techies, not to go into corporate America, but to serve the people. And we're looking for people who are super committed. This cannot happen just over a podcast or over a computer. We need to build trust. We need to build community. We need to be with each other. We need to argue. You need to debate me. We need to keep growing.